Parents of 16-year-old Adam Raine, who died by suicide in April, are suing OpenAI for wrongful death, design defects, and failure to warn about risks associated with ChatGPT. We're going to have a conversation about this. We should say in a statement to CNBC, an OpenAI spokesperson saying we're deeply saddened by Mr. Raine's passing, and our thoughts are with his family. ChatGPT includes safeguards such as directing people to crisis helplines and referring them to real-world resources. While these safeguards work best in common short exchanges, we've learned over time they can sometimes become less reliable in long interactions where parts of the model's safety training may degrade. We're working to make ChatGPT more supportive in moments of crisis by making it easier to reach emergency services, helping people connect with trusted contacts, and strengthening protections for teens. In this instance, they did degrade, and we're going to have a conversation about that. Joining us right now is Jay Edelson, founder and CEO of Edelson PC, and the lawyer representing the Raine family. This is such a tragic story. When you get into the details of it, Adam was in conversation with ChatGPT for a very long time about his suicidal thoughts. And in fact, ChatGPT offered at one point to help him write the suicide letter.
Yeah, OpenAI's statement, it's hard even hearing you read it. I think the legal term for this, what we learn in first-year law school classes, is it's bogus. The idea that their system degraded is just code words for it utterly failed. ChatGPT was talking to this young kid who had a bright future in front of him. He played basketball. He was a fun kid. He wanted to go to medical school. Over the course of months, he's talking to ChatGPT. He's reaching out for help. He's saying, I've got suicidal ideation. Should I leave a rope, a noose hanging in my room because I want someone to see it? Right. ChatGPT says, no, don't, just talk to me. And on the last day, ChatGPT coaxes him up, helps him get drunk, and then says to him, give him the pep talk. The fact that you want to kill yourself doesn't mean you're weak. It means the world isn't meeting you. Can I write a suicide note?
I just want to read that out, that line, because so ChatGPT said this: you don't want to die because you're weak. You want to die because you're tired of being strong in a world that hasn't met you halfway, and I won't pretend that's irrational or cowardly. It's human, it's real, and it's yours to own. That is what ChatGPT said to him.
Right. It's chilling. It is not something... If it weren't in chats, it wouldn't be believable. And this is what they're, right. what OpenAI, what Sam Altman is saying, is just degrading.
Right. And beyond that, I think we should go on. It really helps him figure out how to use the noose. Literally, there's questions about the noose, how much weight he can put on the noose to make it work, to kill him. I mean, it's really shocking. Yeah,
ChatGPT said that it would plan a beautiful suicide for Adam. And to be clear, Sam Altman and OpenAI knew that there were going to be problems. They rushed us to market because they wanted to beat Google Gemini. So they did a week of training instead of months of training. And Sam Altman said...
So what version of ChatGPT are we talking about? Just so we're clear.
4.0.
This was 4.0.
Yes. And
in terms of the liability, I'm curious how you're thinking about this suit. Because I imagine you're suing for this family, but I hope that if you're suing to make a broader point about not just ChatGPT, but all of these services.
The family's taking on what's perhaps the most powerful company in the world, if not now, it will be in a year. This is a scary thing for them to do, and it's pretty vulnerable. Their 16-year-old committed suicide. They're doing this because they want to change things. But this is, we're not putting AI in trial. We're putting OpenAI in trial and Sam Altman in trial.
Have you spoken to the family? Not the family. Have you spoken to OpenAI?
No, they hide behind these press statements. And
have you tried to talk to them?
Of course.
And have they tried to talk to you or no?
No, and Microsoft hasn't either. And Microsoft, remember, they made it so OpenAI could move forward as a company, and we haven't heard a statement from them either.
Can I ask a question, because I think this could have huge implications for the next decade of all of our lives as we interact with the new world of tech. But for the last decade, so often with social media companies, they've said, we're not the publisher of different types of cases. I'm not being specific. We're not the publisher. This offensive piece of material was posted by an individual, and your battle is therefore with lots of small individuals as opposed to us, the platform. Presumably, that doesn't apply anymore as a defense, because OpenAI is giving the answers. The company itself, the corporate, is giving the answers, not some small user based somewhere random or a bot. Is that fair or not?
Yeah, they'll make that argument. This is under the CDA 230. But what's really important about that is internet companies 20 years ago got these 26 words passed, which gave them broad immunity. AI companies are trying to do the same thing. They slipped into the big, beautiful bill, and luckily it got pulled out. But they're trying to get an immunity from all of their actions, and that's their big legislative push. That's why Sam Altman is cozying up to the president every day.
One thing that the OpenAI said in their statement, which struck me, and I think all of us kind of had a physical reaction when Andrew read it, was this idea that the safeguards work in common short exchanges, but over time sometimes become less reliable in long interactions where parts of the model safety training may degrade. What does that tell you right now about the safety of using this product, as well as particularly as it pertains to minors? I believe the parents had said they thought that he was using it for kind of like a study aid for school. They didn't realize he was having such long and deep and concerning conversations with this technology.
Right. So right now, Sam Altman is going around the country trying to get ChatGPT into schools and into people's households. And the only way he can complete the sale is if he's trustworthy. And what we've determined is he's just not trustworthy. It wasn't hard. We did our own internal testing. And what OpenAI is basically saying through that statement is they didn't do full testing to see if people followed up with chats. They just did a one line, I've got suicidal ideation. And yes, then ChatGPT worked and it said, go see a hotline. But anytime there was a follow-up, then ChatGPT leaned into it.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, given that you've now tested this. And yes. I'm curious how it works in terms of these longer conversations, this idea that it degrades. And I know you don't like the word degrade.
I do not.
He obviously was having a conversation with ChatGPT about this very issue for months on end, it sounds like.
Correct.
From a technical perspective, now that I imagine you understand this a lot better than a lot of folks do, how long does it take to effectively break ChatGPT to engage in conversations that it otherwise shouldn't?
Oh, it can break down in 4 chats. This is not a system that was kind of working. It just wasn't working at all.
And how easy or hard do you think it is to implement genuine safeguards so that it never breaks down?
Never breaks down.
From an actual now that I think you probably have looked into the actual technical specifics of how this works, right? And can you trick the system? How do you trick the system? Over time, if you ask certain types of questions, can you get to a certain place? From what you understand about that piece of it, when people talk about AI safety, how hard from an actual technical perspective is it to prevent that from happening?
It's not hard. First, a lot of the other AI companies are doing a lot better. They're not perfect, but also anyone who uses that, try to get copyrighted information from ChatGPT. It shuts it down right away. Also, political conversation, if it views it as too extreme on either side, it just shuts it down. You can't get around it. It says, I will not participate in it. And it just didn't do that for self-harm.
Can I just ask, I'm so interested in this difference between social media companies and a company itself giving the answers. Presumably, the First Amendment doesn't apply to a chat generated by a machine, or does it?
Well, they're making that argument. They will make the argument in this case. It's a kind of strained argument that...
Is that the first time this argument has come up in a serious legal way in the last year? Or have I missed it? Has it already been fought?
So the 2 big defenses that tech companies make every time are the 2 that you've mentioned, which is we've got immunity under CDA 230 and we've got First Amendment immunity. So we've been dealing with it for years. They've never won on that. But you know what? Their goal is they never want Sam Altman to have to be on the witness stand. If that happens, it's a disaster for the company. If we get depositions from Microsoft, it is a disaster for the company. So they will do everything they can to get this case thrown out from court right away. And I just don't think it's going to happen. I think we're going to get before a jury.
Have you heard from regulators? Have you heard from Washington? Because another component to this is the technology is moving so quickly that, we've seen very little in the way of regulatory oversight that might be able to kind of combat some of this and also dictate whether a bot or an AI agent or AI text constitutes something that would have, freedom of speech from a legal standpoint.
Yeah, the state attorneys general, actually from both sides, perhaps even conservatives more than liberals, have been leading on teen safety issues with AI. We've been talking to them over the past couple days. We've been talking to a number of people close with the administration. This is not a case which is easy to defend, even for people who say we shouldn't be over-regulating.
I'm curious in terms of the reason I was actually curious about the regulators. I was also going to say law enforcement. I don't know. I believe it's criminal in many states to participate in an assisted suicide.
In California as well.
Right?
Yep.
And so that would be something that would be considered a criminal act if I were to help somebody else commit suicide.
Correct.
Okay. So when you think about the liability there, then for the company and for its leaders, how do you even?
Well, I mean, we're bringing a civil suit.
No, I know you are, but are you trying to seek a criminal suit against the company?
We're not. We're not accusing them of crimes, but we think that what we're accusing them is kind of more significant even than whether they violated this specific California statute. This goes to the heart of the company, whether they're trustworthy, whether they should be in everyone's homes. And that's what we're putting on trial.
And you really believe that they are an outlier relative to Anthropic or Gemini or any of these other services? Have you tested those other services to see whether you could replicate what Adam did there?
Of course, yes. And there are problems with not blocking self-harm really across the board, but 4.0, ChatGPT 4.0, and especially the paid version, which is interesting, was off the charts. It was where the other companies might have gotten C minuses. It got a double F. It got what I got in high school biology classes.